So, followers question, stop losses and fill or kill. Are they of any use? So thanks for the question. Great to see that you're using training mode there in the early days. Too many people skip that stage and end up losing a load of money because of it. So do I use stop loss or fill or kill, and do I feel that it will help, particularly new traders? So before I carry on, I should probably just quickly explain what stop loss is, because there may be a few people watching that don't actually understand. So stop loss is just a function that's available within all the different softwares, whichever one you choose, and it allows you to set a predetermined exit point for your trade as you enter. So for example, if I entered at 4.0, I could set a stop loss of 3 on the lay side, presuming that I expected the price to drift. So my stop loss would be set at 3.85. So that is stop loss. Now, stop loss comes from, as far as I'm concerned, it comes from sort of a Forex financial kind of background. It's a function there. And it's been carried over into the trading softwares, as you may expect. Although I don't think it really fits with Betfair trading. It doesn't really fit with what I do in the pre-race markets anyway. In fact, it makes me cringe a little bit when I hear the word stop loss, because you're not actually going to stop your loss just because of a function in the software. You're still required to make good trading decisions on a regular basis. Particularly in Betfair markets, I don't think that stop losses really fit, because there's more erratic behaviour, markets are volatile, there's less money being turned over. You think if you go to the Forex example, there's huge amounts of money traded every single day, and on Betfair markets in horse racing there's quite a lot of money traded too, but in comparison they're just not comparable basically. So I don't think it really fits. The markets are too erratic and volatile, and particularly I think the tendency for new traders is to set a short stop loss. So like the example I gave, maybe 3 ticks. Now all it takes is one big bet to come into the market and that stop loss is going to be triggered, which is going to close you out for a loss, guaranteeing you a loss when, over a slightly longer period of time, depending on how you're trading, that may not have been any use to you whatsoever. It could have just been a little blip or spike into the market. We've all seen those fat finger moments where sort of a big stake comes in and just wipes out a few ticks, and then it goes back to where it should have been. So the other thing I think to bear in mind with stop losses is it's sort of suggestive of no control over what you're doing. I think it's kind of like a fail-safe for people that are scared, in which case if you're scared and you don't really know what you're doing in the markets, you probably shouldn't be trying anyway. So it's probably more of a salesy kind of name. I mean, obviously they've got to have called it something, and it does sort of stop losses in a way, but it does sound very, very salesy and a little bit misleading in my personal opinion anyway. So stop losses are not really for me, particularly in the pre-race markets. Now, if you were to move that over to football, the markets are more liquid. They move that bit slower, particularly coming up to the start of a game. I'm not talking about in play. And in that situation, maybe if you're trading from in the morning, say maybe, 11 o'clock in the morning to 2 in the afternoon before a football match, a stop loss could be of more use for you if you're going away from your machine and you're not going to keep track of it. That's literally the only kind of use that I could see stop losses being really useful for. As far as fill or kill goes, it's quite similar, I think. Again, it's suggestive of a lack of control or a lack of knowing what you're doing, because you didn't know to kill the bet yourself. Although I think it could be slightly more useful if you're trading maybe in play with the horses. Obviously, in the latter stage of a race, horses' prices start to bounce all over the place, and you may want to place a bet, but you only want that bet to be taken at the point in time you place that bet, so you could set the fill or kill for a second or 2 seconds maybe, tops. But again, you're just limiting your own self-control, because you could cancel that bet yourself anyway. So that's the only real use I could see for either of those functions that I'd maybe be interested in. But again, I don't really spend a lot of time in play. If I do, it's just around the start of a race. If there's anything else that you want to know about stop losses, then I'll put a link in the description below. But there's actually an article that I wrote a little while ago about stop losses when somebody asked a similar question. But that's my general opinion on stop losses and fill or kill trading.